Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Kaspa coin, right? In terms of news, right, there's nothing massive. I mean, the last time they tweeted was on the 5th. Maybe they're taking a break, maybe not. But listen, if you guys don't know, May 5th was such a huge, massive event for something like Kaspa. We went from 1 BPS all the way to 10 BPS. We literally pack-a-punched and became 10 times the coin we are now, which, as an investor, as someone holding this coin, I would be really, really happy about that, right? I would be extremely, extremely happy that, this coin literally became 10 times better. And literally it is the best on the whole crypto market, right? In terms of blocks per second, right? We are the fastest. And with this coin, we expect to be going from 10 to 100 to eventually 250 blocks per second, which is absolutely crazy. But let's talk about the technical analysis. Big shout out to Uber Eats for sponsoring this video. First 50 people get $20 off their first 2 meals, which means you can literally eat for free. Just use the code on your screen or the link in the description below. It is very, very important. What Kaspa is doing now and over the next couple of weeks is very, very important in terms of technical analysis. Okay, we can see that we have been kind of ranging over a year, right? Kaspa kind of went and blew up over a year ago at this point, right? We can see in November, practically it blew up from, 5 cents. It went all the way up to 15. Then it kind of ranged. And while some altcoins really did well, Kaspa was just kind of doing whatever. They just kind of kept ranging. Now, here's the deal. Obviously in terms of making lots of gains, it's not the most optimal, but actually in terms of structure, it's going to be very, very, very optimal. So we can see, right? We can see Kaspa was kind of ranging. Then we fell below a big support zone. We fell below this yellow line down here that I'm shaking, which was very, very important because this was our support for over a year. And then we fell below it. And if you guys don't know why that's very important, it's because when a floor turns into a roof that has been consistently tested on, it kind of what goes below what I consider hell, right? Because there's so much structure. There's so much structure in multiple zones here, and here, right? So when you fall below it, it does get a little bit concerning. But guess what? No problem for Kaspa, because what did Kaspa do? Well, it retested off of these highs over here, right? Boom, off of these highs over here. And then we started to see some life into the markets, right? This is when Bitcoin was roughly around 74K. Then a couple weeks later, Bitcoin's already back over 100K. Kaspa is roughly at 11 cents. Now, Kaspa is above this yellow line. Okay, we talked about how 2 weeks ago, this was huge for something like Kaspa, right? It exploded and now it is looking to respect it. Overall, people, you have to realize that, this is going to be a limited opportunity and limited time to be buying Kaspa around this yellow line at the bottom, okay? Because right now what we're doing is we're just going kind of diagonally downwards, but we will explode the moment there's a lot of momentum once again, okay? We genuinely will. And it would not surprise me, right? It would not surprise me, for Kaspa to never come back to this price until maybe next altcoin season, possibly, right? And even then, that's debatable. But obviously, that's a very, very long time away. So we can see Kaspa's overall going to be ranging between, let's just say, 11 cents to 9.5 cents as its main priority zone. When we also look at Kaspa's price, if we go to something like the weekly, we could actually see that there is a weekly order block candle right here. Boom, right? So, it tapping down a little bit lower, potentially to 9.5 cents, and then finally going up would not surprise me at all. I overall do not expect Kaspa to, be below 10 cents, longer than maybe a day or two at most. And that's me being very, very generous. I overall expect candle closes to be above 10 cents, above 10.5 cents, because like I said, we are very bullish and we are finally back on top of the big zone, right? It's no longer resistance for us, it's support once again. So, I really doubt we're going to be breaking below it. There's literally no evidence to suggest. Once we kind of go and respect this zone, the next relevant target is going to be 15.5 cents, right? Because we have one high over here, and then we have another weekly high right here. So that zone is, these two zones are definitely going to be getting taken out, right? So that is why I believe once we kind of respect the 10 cents, we're just going to surge up another 50%, going to 15 cents. After that, things might slow down a little bit. Things might get a little bit more fundamental once again. But generally speaking, we should be looking for all-time highs shortly after that. By shortly, I mean probably a few short weeks, okay? Remember, all this has and needs time to develop, right? Things can't just happen overnight, okay? So yeah, I mean, that's practically in terms of that. The one thing I am concerned a little bit about, ladies and gentlemen, is this dominance, right? This dominance over here, right? I do believe that we most likely will be going to roughly 6.5% dominance before we explode. This is the altcoin dominance, not including the top 10. Kaspa right now is not in the top 10. So obviously this is relevant for a coin like Kaspa, right? We can see that last time around, right? We were hanging, drop, and then the recovery. And once we recovered, we never looked back, which makes me believe altcoin season is going to be here sooner than later, which is why if you're debating about getting Kaspa at 10.5 cents, 10 cents, 9.5 cents, I would just warn to you saying, hey, look, this might not be the most optimal time. It's very, very risky, generally speaking, to be trying to be stingy for that extra couple percent gain. I understand sometimes it can go a long way. It could be the difference between extra couple $1,000s, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of $1,000s, of course, depending how big your portfolio is. But you got to remember that, the buying is just as important as the selling, right? And yeah, but look, overall, guys, I am super, super optimistic on this coin. I do believe at the bare minimum, this thing should be hitting like $1.50. This is one of those coins that I think would be between the 35 to 45 billion market cap zone. So, if we were to even get a 10x from here, that would be roughly, a dollar, right? Almost $1.10, $1.08. If we were to go like roughly 1.5 times, then we would be looking at around $1.60. So that is where I think Kaspa is going to go at the bare minimum. I do think though Kaspa can definitely go upwards of $3 a cycle. Now, does that mean it's going to happen in one pump? I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure. I would need to see more data to let you know if that's very, very possible. But if there was a double pump this cycle, is it probable? Absolutely, in my opinion. Absolutely, if there's a double pump, then it is more than viable. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should have, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.